Mi gente, what's up? Hello, bienvenidos. Welcome to another episode of Hoy en Día TV. We are here on this terrific Thursday, and as per usual, I have my lovely, amazing co-host. Welcome, Cece, the actionist, and Nadine, the author. Yes. How's it going?
Hello,
¿Cómo están?
ladies.
How y'all doing?
We're doing well. I'm doing well.
Bien, y tú, practice my Espanol.
Mira, qué bueno. You sound great. Look at you. So it's been a whole week since I've seen you, Cece, and a couple of weeks since I've seen Nadine. So catch me up. How's life? What y'all been up to? ¿Qué es lo que pasa?
Life's been great. I mean, I've
You
just
first,
been
Nadine.
going around. Yeah, I'm glad to be here again. I was off the chart last week because, I was at a book signing. So, I mean, that's all I've been doing, just like focusing on that and trying to get some more of those things going, you know what I mean? So, new venture. It's not new, but renewed.
That is awesome. So tell me, how did it go? How did the book signing go? Like, when people go to the book signing, what do they expect? What can they expect?
Well, what catches their attention is because, I have that big banner that has some explanation of my books and, that basically drew their attention in. So, I mean, they stop at my table or I basically call them to come over so they could get some more insight about my books. I mean, I enjoy talking about my story. Initially, when I started, you could never get me like, doing that because I was so shy and, oh my God, what people going to say, they always say that whenever, you don't care about what other people say, then, if I didn't want people to know, I wouldn't have dropped my book, right? But then now, the more I talk about it, the more I get out of my comfort zone. And of course, who more than to talk about it than me, because it's my story. So, I mean, and the good thing about it is like, oh my gosh, I mean, some of the times I'm like almost in tears because so many people, especially my first book, Can a Girl Catch a Break, they could really relate because, some people had several miscarriages and they don't know how to cope about it. I mean, I've came across a young lady who had mentioned that, she wanted to write a book and everything was just so overwhelming for her. She didn't know where to start. So, I mean, I gave her some insights and I mean, she's really grateful. So, I mean, like I always tell people, if you have a story to tell, share your story. And my headpiece is giving me a hard time today. What's going on?
That's because you're speaking the truth and the enemy is trying to get at you. But guess what? The enemy is not going to get to you. That is awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. Cece, how about you? It's been a whole week since I saw you.
I know, so long ago, so many moons. Indeed. Life is really good in everything, just really seeing that silver lining with everything. I've been really having an opportunity to minister more to women, women who, have faith, women who do not, so many different walks of life. And it's just been a real honor. When you put yourself out there and you say, call me 2, 3 in the morning. It doesn't matter. I'll wake up. I'll pray with you. I'll listen to you. I'll cry with you. Whatever it takes. Right. And so being able to show up for people in the God-given capacity, because it's only Him that's allowed me to do it. It's been really amazing. I've been feeling kind of drained. I was sharing with Nadine just the other day. I was like, how your chargers, for your phones and stuff, you have like that fast one, right? That quick charge. And then you just put on the regular one, just like a slow charge. I'm the slow charging, but I realize that it's nothing in the natural that I'm dealing with, if that makes sense, but it's all spiritual. And this is a test because I've been here before. My mom, I love her. She's such an angel. She was saying, I'm praying that God will take this from you. And for those of you that may not, be people of faith or believe in Jesus Christ, because that's who I believe in. He is the one, the true, the only, and the living God, right? And I don't apologize for that. And I said, Mom, I don't pray that God takes it away from me. Pray that God helps me to persevere through it and to overcome it, right? Because this is my second rodeo with this. So this is a test that I have to pass. This is a test that I desire to pass. I always say this is my go moment. And that go moment means growth opportunity. That's what God's given me in this season. This is my growth opportunity. So where people are seeing, why me and woe is me and this shouldn't be happening, I say again, this is your growth opportunity. Embrace it, right? Be thankful for the persecutions. I know for non-believers out there, you're like, girl, you smoking that stuff and it ain't the good stuff, right? But I promise you, I'm not. Always been drug free, okay? But no, it's when you begin to have a relationship with the Most High that your vision, the way that you see things, the way that you respond, right? Or not respond. A lot of my changes in life has become or has now taken place for me for not responding. I don't need to respond to everything. And it takes a lot of pressure off. It removes a lot of the stressors and things, that you have in life. So it's been so good. It's been some pressing times, some hard times, but I would not change these times. I would not give them back. People say, oh yeah, you're crazy. Yeah, who wants hard times? No one wants hard times. But when these hard times, when they really kind of chisel away, right? When it really kind of, just reframes and really makes you super, super sharp. You know what I'm saying? As a person, right? As a sister, as a minister, as a friend, as a aunt, as a whatever, right? It just makes you a better person. So I'm being refined. This is my refining moment, right? This is the refining thing. So I'm loving life. It's going good. Kiddos are good. Husband's good. He's been on travel. He's going to be coming back here now. On tomorrow, yay! Because I'm like a Sister Taya. I'm running the swim practice and track practice and all my practice. And I said my kid needs his own chauffeur, but it's going good. How are things with you? What's doing in your life, in your world, Yessie?
You're on mute.
You're muted, sis. You're muted. You're talking, but you're muted.
Oh my Jesus. Right. You're right. Thank you. I'm like pour my heart out. But I will say, before I say how I am, I will salute you both because you're both strong, beautiful women who are pushing forward. And regardless of what happens, you just see the beauty in that. And that's amazing. And that spirit is really what I prey upon our listeners and viewers when that situation, regardless of what it is, when you feel that heavy burden that you feel is negative, just break the chains off and know that there's always good in that is helping you grow. Like Cece said, the go was a growth opportunity. You said, right, Cece? Right, growth opportunity. So see the glass opportunity. The whole thing about half full, half empty glass. How are you going to see it? I hope that you see the optimistic approach because it's always a bigger and better day, and for us to continue to grow and blossom and be better individuals than we were yesterday. And I feel you. Like my week has been great. Earlier in the week, I wasn't feeling the greatest because that pollen, like, I don't know what it is with pollen. Every April, my eyes swell up and I'm just like, ugh. And I've been dealing with this for the last 17 years that I've lived here. And it's just kind of like, when is it going to get better? But then I got to realize that it probably won't ever get better. So with that in mind, I know. Just pollen is ridiculous. Like, just a heads up for anyone who wants to live in the state of North Carolina. It's a beautiful state. You get all 4 seasons, but that's the caveat. When spring comes and all the pollen and trees and all the extra stuff, if you suffer from allergies, you're going to be like me. So, but nevertheless, I overcome it. I overcame it. I figured out the eye washes and the eye drops, the whole shebang for it. So I'm feeling a lot better. But similar to you, CZ, my energy felt a little depleted as well. And so I prayed. Anytime I feel that way, I always pray and I thank God, because I agree with you. All of us have those tests that are coming upon us, but it's the way we see it. Our goal is to pass the test. And a lot of people don't realize that. Absolutely. And so it's the frame of mind. What are you going to do to pass that test? What are you going to do to make sure that that negative doesn't overcome you, where it overburdens you and you're like stuck in this negative rut? So with that in mind, I pray upon y'all to say positive vibes. Everything's going to be okay. If you're dealing with the negative, it's going to be positive. Trust me. It's just about your mentality, frame of mind, right? Yes.
I receive it.
I will say this too. My heartfelt prayers go out to the families in the Dominican Republic. Did y'all hear what happened there?
I missed that story.
So unfortunately,
yeah, fill me in.
Yeah, so there was at least 113 people were dead after a Dominican Republic nightclub roof collapse. This is according to MSN.com. This happened this past Tuesday. There's more that they're still scavenging through everything, but the nightclub was pretty popular. It's called Jet Set, which is a renowned club in the National District. And according to the owners, they're fully and transparently cooperating with the relevant authorities to assist the victims and clarify what actually happened. There was a good amount of celebrities that were in there as well. So I really send my condolences and prayers to those. A lot of families were affected. And that's the scary part too, where it's like, these individuals were having fun, enjoying life, and never in a million years would you think that this was going to happen, where the roof was just going to fall upon you, and then that was it, right? So it's.
I'm sorry, Jesse. Is it the one with some of the baseball players?
Yes,
I did see something like that on Facebook. Yes, I did see that a few days ago. Oh my God, my heart goes out to them, because in one of the comments, somebody was like, "Why are they only highlighting the celebrities? There are numerous people that gotten injured as well." So, yeah, I did see that story. Yeah.
and I agree with you. These are many, many families affected, regardless if there were celebrities or not. So I'm really glad that you brought that up, Nadine, because it's about just putting the shoe in their foot. You know, they lost a loved one, regardless of the paycheck and the status and what have you. That was still a human being that was living and breathing and motivated individuals in different ways. So yeah, it's really sad, but you know, I pray that these individuals get that things get better for them soon, because this is tough.
Oh, that's bad.
That's very unfortunate. Did it say like why was the roof, really old? Like, what was going on that caused the collapse? Do you know?
Well, there's been information shared with regards to that speculation. So apparently, a few years back, there was some sort of fire that may have taken place, from what I was looking through different comments, and apparently was fixed. But whoever was the company that was hired, I mean, DR is a third world country, right? So I don't know what the protocols are for like building maintenance and all that extra stuff, similar to how we are here in the States. But with that, I'm assuming that because they felt this Jet Set Club was ready for them to use, it clearly was not. It wasn't in the right conditions to be used, especially for a large capacity of people. So that's what I'm reading from the comments, but I'm sure more information to come. And once we do have that information, we'll definitely share it for sure. Looks like we lost Nadine.
Technical difficulties. She'll be back. She'll be back.
Oh, yeah.
She'll be back. She'll be better than ever.
Absolutely. I see her popping up, so I'm going to give her a few minutes to get herself together here. Also, I came across a really interesting news break. A married couple was enjoying an intimate moment at an Airbnb when they discovered a hidden camera above their bed. And so apparently this was an Arkansas couple vacationing at Scottsdale, Arizona Airbnb on their first evening in the home. And then they, looking around and stuff, they're like, what's this? And that's when they discovered the hidden camera. So yikes, that's kind of scary, because like, you can't even peacefully rent an Airbnb without it being a hidden camera. Like, really? Like, what's going on? What are your thoughts about that?
That's
Susan?
such an invasion of privacy, and that's happening more and more. Yeah, it's such an invasion of privacy, and it needs to be highlighted more and more. I know it's so sad, right? Like all the sickos that are out there, right? I understand, for the owners of these properties, they want to make sure that their properties is not being damaged. And they kind of, if it is being damaged, they can kind of find out who did what or what have you. But you got to be able to rent these places with some ease. I have a beachfront property there in Myrtle Beach. And the only camera that we have is at the little Ring doorbell camera, right? And we let our patrons know that, but there's no other cameras. And two, sometimes when people know that you you have cameras in your home, you are less likely to get, well, it's harder to get them rented, right? And so there's definitely no cameras in our home and stuff like that. But even me, like this, putting the shoe on the other foot, I get a little nervous in the service because you never know who is renting your home. And if those people might set up cameras in your home to surveillance other people, it's just, the world is so wicked that's the only word. And there's a lot of sick those that are out there. And I know that there's laws out there to protect, because that is illegal, right? You know, you have in some states where you have like a 2-party or consent or 1-party consent and that kind of thing. So that's one thing, but that's such an invasion. And I hope, you know, that they find the person that was spying on them and stuff like that. There's a lot of different detection equipment and apps and things out there that you can use to kind of scan. It's so sad. Like, well, let me scan the place first before we go in, hun, right? And get all of that just to make sure there's no cameras, you know, around in any of that stuff. So a lot of time, you know, you can ask the host directly if they have the cameras and where the camera's at, and they have to tell you, right, by law, if that is the case. But if you do, just for the people that are out there, you know, you can always report that to the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, because that's a crime. And you can also report it to local law enforcement as well, because that is a crime, and they can be, you know, persecuted to the full extent of the law. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's really good to know, actually.
Yeah, Nadine,
so you said,
I know you're on mute.
FTC?
I'm so sorry about
the
that.
FTC, Federal Trade Commission.
Share the screen, and before you know it, I'm off. I'm like, what's going on here? So
It's okay. It happens. It's all good, but you're back. Yeah, it's all good.
My monitors are going crazy. They're just disappearing off the screen. It's like, I'm having a bad day today.
No, we're having a good day. You know why? Because this is going to be a deep show, and the enemy's trying to like impede. And guess what? Nope.
Enemy's trying to work. Not today, Satan.
Nope.
Today, not today.
Leave us alone. Nadine, I'm not sure if you heard about the married couple who was enjoying an intimate moment at an Airbnb out in Scottsdale, Arizona, when they discovered the camera. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I heard Cece talking about it, and I mean, you spoke briefly about it too. That is definitely invasion of privacy, and they should be sued for that, because there's no way. We don't know how many people, if it's internationally streamed or what they're doing, some freaky people, whatever the case is. Like, that's unsad. Like, who wants to rent a place and then you find out that you have a video out there? Come on.
Yeah, that's not
right at all.
And so, just
I was kind of researching here in the background. Oh, I'm sorry. I was researching here in the background. Some of the apps that they have out there for people, you know, to kind of check these things for hidden cameras. One is called Fing. That's F as in Frank, ING, Fing. Another one's called Hidden Camera Detector. Okay, so that's pretty basic. And then another one's called Glint Finder. So they're saying, use your cell phone camera or flashlight or something to look at, like, unplugged devices that you're like kind of unsure about. Sometimes you'll see some fancy stuff in places. You're like, oh, I wonder what that is. Unplug it, because it's probably a camera. But look in the smoke detectors, right? Look in the vents. I'm always looking in vents of hotels, like in the bathrooms and stuff like that. Things that look like a screw, but they're technically not a screw. So I'm always getting in up close and personal with those types of things. So those are sort of a few little things, to kind of help you be safe out there as a consumer and to be looking for these hidden devices.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me, give me 1 minute. I'll be right back.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I'll bring you behind the scenes. I'm glad you brought that up too, because I was going to share that too, just making sure for those individuals, consumers who are going to consider an Airbnb, just look around, do like similar to what Cece said, look around. If something looks suspicious, you're like, I'm not sure what's going on. Best tools and best practices, bring some tape and just put like tape over it. If it looks like a low camera, put some tape over it because you want to protect your privacy. You don't know where these videos are going, what they're doing with it. And that's scary. That is really scary. So definitely do your due diligence. What I also like to do just to cover myself and my family is immediately right when I get into the property, I take video. If something looks off, if something is broken, if something is damaged, I want them to know we didn't do that, and I'm not going to be liable for it. So I'm quickly taking pictures. I'm communicating with these individuals right away to say, hey, this is what I found. Do that to cover yourself, because a lot of times if you don't cover yourself up front and you go through the week or the days, what have you, it may look like you and your family did it when it wasn't the case. So definitely do your due diligence up front is my recommendation to you. Taking the evidence of the videos, communicating with those individuals right away, those property owners, to say, hey, this is what I'm finding. Just a heads up, it wasn't me or my family. I'm bringing this to your attention. And that way they know, okay, it wasn't so-and-so's family. Just to cover yourself. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Great
Shout
tips.
out to
Those are great tips. Yep.
Shout out to our viewers and listeners. Hello, Nita and V. Thank you all for tuning in. Also, there was something else interesting that I found. A babysitter checks under the child's bed for a monster, but what she finds is actually more horrifying. So once I came across this story, I was really interested to know what's going on here. So a Kansas babysitter found a monster when the child she was caring for kept complaining that something was under the bed. So this was on a Monday night at 10:30 p.m. Barton County Sheriff deputies were dispatched to a residence in Great Bend, Kansas, which is 189 miles southwest of Topeka, Kansas. And according to the Barton County Sheriff's Office, once they arrived, the victim told the officer she was putting the children she was caring for to sleep when one of them began to complain that there's a monster lurking under the bed. This is what was documented. When she checked under the bed, I'm going to pause right there. What are your thoughts of what she found under the bed? Cece, what do you think she found under the bed? What do you think this monster was that was under the bed?
There was a man under the bed?
I don't know.
Okay.
Was it a rat?
Nadine?
Yeah, something.
What do you think?
Like a rat, some kind of rodent, like a
What
rodent
was
of
the
some
monster?
type.
I'm
Maybe,
curious.
Yeah, a rodent.
Okay, and so those are good guesses.
What was
Nadine, you were spot on. So the man identified as 27-year-old Martin Villalobos Jr. that used to live in this house, but a protection from the abuse order was issued against him, which ordered him to stay away from the property, but he obviously violated it. So he felt the need to crawl under this child's bed and torment the poor child. So that's scary. That is scary. So for parents out there, if your kid is telling you there's a monster under the bed, please believe them. If they're telling you there's a monster in the closet, believe them, because in this case, it's the perfect stranger. This kid had no clue who it was. And according to him, yeah, it's a monster. I don't know who's under my bed. I don't know this person. Right. So what are your thoughts about that?
That is crazy. I did read about that, Yessie. So when you saw the monster, the guy, I think he was in a relationship with the mother, right?
I believe so. And I believe she put an order of protection against him. So obviously some form of abuse was happening there that she felt the need to put an order against him.
He had a restraining order. So yeah, he didn't have anywhere else to go. So he decided to live under the little girl's bed. Yeah, I did read about that. That was some months ago, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, and I know you're gonna come back to that, but the reason why
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
No, I said, the reason why I stepped away
living underneath this
I
bed
ran downstairs.
the first time.
Nadine, it didn't say how long he was under there, so I'm not sure. But that's a good question. That's concerning.
Concerning. And I know just not to cut you off, but the reason why I had stepped away real quick was because this little device, going back to the Airbnb, I bought on TikTok. They have it on Amazon. It was very, very viral. You turn it on and you scan whatever area you in. You just turn on the little button and it scanned for a camera, whether it's in your car, underneath your car, whatever the case is. You just scan this little device and you take it to the hotel and you scan it wherever you go for any hidden cameras. You could fit it in your purse. It's really, really small.
Wow, that's amazing. Have you had a chance to try it yet?
Oh yeah, I've tried it.
What are your thoughts about it? What are your reviews on it? Do you think it's a good buy? Yeah.
I'm sorry? You said if it's on? No, it's not on now.
Does it work?
But when it's near to any devices, it works. You just turn the button on, turn it on. Let me see. I haven't used it in a while. So, oh, there it is.
So what places have you scanned with it so far? Oh,
I've scanned my phones, the computer. I mean, I scanned my car, and see, like you see the camera on the back of my phone. I scanned it and it went off. You see?
Wow.
Yeah. So because there's a camera, so you just scan it, and it will go off.
Awesome. Yes.
now does it have like a radius, like how far it can kind of go? You know, like if you step in the room and you're just kind of, you know, do you have to be super up close to it, or like what's the difference? What's the coverage or the distance?
Yes, there's a radius, because you see, my phone was close to it and it started beeping. You see it?
Right.
You hear it beeping? Yeah, because of the camera is on the phone.
That is so impressive.
Yeah, but do you know the radius though? Do you know the radius of how far?
I think I threw away the little
Do you know the
paper that
radius?
came with it, but there's a radius. There's definitely a radius, but I don't remember how far. I mean, but like even the mic and not the mic, but the camera is down here and it's up here and it kind of went off a little bit. But I mean, you have to bring it. You see, it's like it's going off and my phone is on my desk. So you see what I'm saying? And the camera on my computer is going off as well.
Good. Yeah, that's
so.
I like
ladies,
that.
How much was that on Temu? You said it was Temu.
Let me turn it off now, because you see the buttons are going off.
How much was it?
It was probably less than $30. It's real. It's very inexpensive. They have it on Amazon as well. Just I forgot what name you type in, but I'll definitely share the link when I get it for you guys.
Yeah, that's definitely a good investment, a good buy, especially if it's going to help, you know, protect you and your family. Yeah, that's wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for sharing that. I like that.
Yeah, I had to go downstairs and get it. I said, this is the perfect opportunity. I didn't know you were going to talk about that topic. So I said, let me go get it. That's why I stepped away, because I knew I had it down there. And I'm like, definitely.
Hey, that's awesome. Good opportunity. So there you go, y'all. Nadine shared this helpful tool that you can use when you are renting an Airbnb or verbal home, etc. So check it out.
You know, predators out there, you go to Walmart, you come back, and you never know if somebody put a tracking device underneath your car, whatever the case is.
Food for thought, right
somebody
there.
that happened to.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you do?
I'm not going to talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, Nadine knew someone that happened to, and yeah. The Nadine's discernment, by the way, is like a human radar detector, right? Like her discernment is like spot on, and you know she just kept saying like, "Hey, something's not right. Something's not right." Her gut told her spot on. Yeah.
People don't be believing me though, but I'm like,
that friend.
Oh, I believe you. You tell me once to be like, okay, I got you. I'm not like that. I'm not like that at all. I'm like, you know what? I trust your instincts. You make a good point. But that's just who I am. Even like when I was growing up and I saw a lot of like people graduating high school and they had kids already and stuff. And then I saw my elders and they were like, wait to have kids. And I'm like, you know what? Tell me once, that's it. And that's why I waited so long to have a child. And I see why, because you have the opportunity to live your life. So trust me, when you tell me something, I got you. Thank you. That's all I need.
Yes, even with ex-friends, I had that discernment, like that person don't check for me. And I usually pray about it first. I go to God first and I pray about it. And friends, relationship, he revealed it to me. I'm telling you, like, don't ask God for anything you do not want, because he will reveal it to you plain as day. Okay?
That's amazing. That's a gift. You have a gift, ma'am.
Oh,
yes, she has a gift for sure.
It's gonna call her Miss Cleo.
Miss Cleo.
No, Sleepy.
funny. Oh gosh, so funny. So also talking about trending topics here. So apparently in Clayton County, Georgia, there was a convicted killer mistakenly freed from a Georgia jail. And so apparently there was an accidental release, which I don't know how that typically happens. How does an accidental release happen? I want to understand that, of a convicted murderer before he could be actually sent to the prison. So he was in a jail, leaving the victim's mother more distraught. So Kathan Guzman remains on the loose. So just a heads up, if y'all see a Kathan Guzman, and Google him so you can look at his portrait. He's still on the loose, so just be mindful of that. He was released only months after he was sentenced to life in prison for strangling his ex-girlfriend, 19-year-old Delilah Grayson. This individual is still free and walks amongst us, so I encourage y'all, when y'all get a moment, Google his picture. So he might be standing right next to you at a grocery store. You never know.
Wow, he's probably not even in Georgia anymore.
Wow. Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, so his name is Kathan Guzman, Guzman. And in the picture they're showing right now that I'm looking at, he is wearing dreadlocks, but who knows? He might have changed his style too. So
I see it.
You see it?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Wow. There he is. Wow. How does that even happen? Like, that's a big mistake. That's a big error. That's huge, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, what was going on with the paperwork and the clerks, here at the jailhouse or whatever, like, really?
That needs to be a movie, because
what if some foul play somewhere kind of that,
That's crazy.
Somebody needs to get released from their job because they're not doing their job. Because I agree with you, Cece. How does that happen? Now you have this individual that's a danger to society, and he accidentally was freed. That just makes no logical sense to me at all.
Exactly. And then you have to imagine him without his dreads too. He might cut it off.
Right. He might wear a wig, change it up. Mm-hmm. We don't know.
Yeah, if I was Yep. If I was a criminal on the loose, I would definitely cut my hair, color my hair, whatever, to look completely different, right? So, yeah.
Ooh. Well, I pray that they find him soon, because that's pretty uncomfortable. And the sad part is that he's only one of many that are amongst us in walking in our criminals. So, yeah.
That's unfortunate.
That's interesting. Nadine shared a TikTok video with me this week, and it was I think Nadine, you're the one that sent me this. With the car, it was at the red light, and a tree fell on the car. So can you just imagine driving down your street and like you're just at a red light, a normal stop? Yeah, and we got trees, especially here in North Carolina, because there's a law in North Carolina that, with the greenery, right? So we build a lot of stuff, but we have to have a certain amount of greenery, which I'm thankful for, because, I'm from Florida. You go to Florida, it's just a lot of cement and buildings. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you have a few palm trees here, but, we need the greenery. So North Carolina has a law, like you can only have, so much of that, but you got to have so much greenery too. And so the person was sitting there, our family was like an SUV, and this tree had to have been just a dead tree, just rotting and rotting, and it fell right in the car. Now, I don't know what happened to the people, and they show all of that or whatever, but I'm just saying that they were okay. Yeah, it was a big oak tree. It was a massive tree.
It was a massive. But when I watched that video, like literally probably over 20 times, and I was like, I gasped for air, and I was like, oh my God. And the funny thing about it is one car went, it was the first car at the red light, then there was a second car, and the tree fell dead in the middle, like halfway in the middle and the back. And that lady opened the door. There were no sound on the video. So, you don't know what they were saying, but she got out the car. And I think the man in the back saw it. So he got out the car, but the person behind her didn't even get out the car. And then there was another truck who did a U-turn, didn't even stop to help or anything. But, I know that people have places to go, but you know, and people were talking about the humanity of people. They don't care, you know. So I'm just glad she's okay, and just pray that nobody else was in the back of that SUV, because I'm going to have to research more to see what was the outcome of that, if there were other people in the back of it. But I know she was in the front, and it didn't hit her, you know, like block the front door of her side, but she was able to get out immediately and run to the guy in front. So she was fine. No, I mean, I'm telling you, she was blessed, because she had no scrapes, no marks, nothing. She just walked away. That SUV was flat in the middle.
I'm so
Yes.
glad she was okay. That's scary. That is scary. Um, Bringing up a similar topic, I want to say this was about 5 years ago. I went to visit my family in Wisconsin. We went to a Hispanic restaurant on this what's called the south side of Milwaukee. And while we were enjoying dinner, we see two cars chasing each other, and all of a sudden one hits the pole, the light pole. The light pole immediately falls, and it it hits one of the cars uh, to the point where and then they obviously get into a on top of other people's cars. And so when you mentioned that, it triggered my brain to remember that situation, because that was pretty traumatic, like seeing somebody like coming out with a dislodged arm, there's blood spatting out, a pole falling on top of cars. It's just chaos. Yeah, so I can only imagine what she was feeling dealing with that firsthand. That's scary. Wow. Oh man. So, ladies, we did have a guest today, but the guest is not able to join us. So it's okay. We're going to keep on chatting away with what we have. We'll get him on next time. So I came across something interesting under financial education. They're classifying this as uncomfortable truth, and this is financial education on Instagram. So this was food for thought for me, because I really didn't think about it. You know, when you think about the average person's lifespan, what would you say? I just want you all to kind of think, like, in your words, when you said mid-age or middle age or midlife, what would you say? Cece, you want to go
Like
first,
middle age?
Nadine?
Yeah, I know people typically go like, oh, it's kind of like breaking up a little bit. It's like a delay.
Are you
guys getting that? Maybe that's just on my end.
Like she's frozen. Yes, she's frozen.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you, but now you're
frozen on our end.
Can y'all hear me? No?
You gotta love technology.
I know.
We can hear you a little bit.
There you are. You're frozen.
I think I'm back. Am I finally back?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what is going on. We pay all this money for Spectrum, and they just give me a quick moment. Now. Did y'all hear anything about what I asked?
You mentioned about mid-age.
I heard something about middle age.
Yes. So when we think about middle age, what are your thoughts about what you consider to be middle age?
Maybe 65.
How about you, Cece?
Yeah, I guess now about like 65, because people are living longer. Because people are living longer, right? So like a lifespan, you know, it used to be, you know, maybe somewhere like 72, 5 years, whatever. But now the lifespan has kind of inched up. So now it's in the 90th, like percentile, right? As far as age ranges and things of that nature, 80th to 90th, you know, 92, something like that. So yeah, I'll probably say like in the 60s, maybe would be like middle age. I mean, nowadays, I mean, if you're 27 plus, you're like geriatric, right? It's like age is taking on a whole nother meaning, you know what I'm saying? People's like, I'm 30, I'm old. It's like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? My life is over. Like, no, it's not. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, yeah.
I
So
know
say
what you
like in
mean
the
because
60s,
middle school
60s.
kids are calling people in their 20s and 30s old. So I know what you mean.
Old. It's like you're so old. You're 20 what? 22? Oh, you're a dinosaur.
If you ask is CC, is be like, oh no, you're old.
Yeah, he told
Yes.
me, he said, Mommy, how old are you? Are you 69? I said, I'm 69.
Yes, he's frozen
I'm like,
again.
whatever. Yeah, you're frozen, sis. We can't hear you or nothing's moving, but we're making it do what it does. Yeah, but he's like, yeah, 60. I'm like, yeah, it's the best 69-year-old you're ever gonna see. So what the age changes from day to day. He has no concept of time or ages or any of that stuff. So it's just be like, well, how are you? Are you 100? I certainly am.
I
Don't I
was
look
just
good for
going to say,
100, y'all?
I remember when he
Yay.
said, when he asked you if you were 100, you were 100 years old. Oh.
Absolutely. I'm whatever you want me to be. Okay. This day and age, that's the thing though. Like people, all this transgender stuff that goes on. It's like you can change a whole gender, right? But don't you start messing with the ages. I mean, everybody gets upset. They're like, no, you cannot change your age. You must be whatever age you are. It's like, but why not? Because today I feel like I'm 20 and tomorrow I might feel like I'm 60. You know what I'm saying? So why can't I change my age? Everything else changes. Today I'm a cup. Tomorrow I'm a bottle. I don't know.
Listen, I'm trying to forget my
So
birthday. That's on my birth certificate. There was this man who told me before. He was like, "Don't count your birthday because you want to have like a ending time of your life. So don't do that." He was like, "Oh, you're not 40. You're not 50. Don't count your birthday. Don't celebrate your birthday because you're gonna have an ending time on your lifespan." I'm like, "Oh, I never looked at it like that."
Wow. That's interesting. Yeah, no, that's actually a pretty good. Well, and I asked that question because according to financial education, this is an uncomfortable truth. So the average person lives 76 years, but what's considered middle age isn't actually 50, it's 38 years.
What?
Right, because 38 times 2 is 76. I know, look at Stacey's face. Middle, so people, according to financial education, which makes sense to me, like I see their point. It's like, okay, yeah, get it. Okay. So if you are 38, you're already kind of over the hump.
Well, please do not times my age because, child.
Okay, I should be walking around with a walker or something. I don't know.
Don't be dare times my age, honey, child, because
We are antiquated. Okay, we are dinosaurs, prehistoric. Oh my goodness. I never get, people get really uncomfortable talking about age. And I'm like, but why? Because the world has made it seem such a negative, such a bad thing. Oh, you got to be this. Like, no, I love seeing like senior citizens and they are fit, they are healthy, they have their cognitive faculties about them. Like they are really living life. They are healthier in their 60s and 70s than they were in their 30s and their 20s. You see what I'm saying? So if you take care of your body, this holy temple, right? It'll take care of you. And you too can look this good at age 69. Okay. She says I'm 69. I'm like, okay.
No, she didn't.
That part. Take care of your temple. This is what God blessed you with. The temple. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
We gotta do it. We gotta do it. I met a lady. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. You're good.
No, go ahead. Yeah. Share your story about the lady.
Yeah, she was talking about, the temple, right? And she was saying, taking care of your body and that kind of stuff. And she was talking about clean eating, right? So she's like this advocate for clean eating. And she was saying like too, like how she is a people pleaser. And she's trying to learn to set boundaries to not do that so much, because what she's learning is that it really affects her. It puts a lot of stressors on her as a person. And so now trying to rewire her brain to not do that. But she was talking about like, with the whole age and the clean eating, because she was like, you think these are things that we will get early on in life, which people just don't. And I'm really kind of convinced as I'm moving on up, in age and things of that nature, like there's just some things, and maybe this isn't true for everybody. I can't say if this is true for all, but maybe for the vast majority, there's just some things that you're going with age. Like you're not going to get it in your 20s, right? How a 40-year-old would think. You know what I'm saying? I know we all have different life experiences, because even like a 18, 19-year-old can have had life experiences of a 40-year-old person, just depending, on the culture, the lifestyle, like all of those types of things, right? And so I don't like when people give their age. That's why I don't ask people their age, because I don't even need to know. Right. I need to know you first as a person, because even when a person gives their age, it's like something clicks in our brain to be like, oh, well, you should be here. You should be doing that. You should think this way. You should dress that way. And I don't like that. So it puts a lot of pressure. It comes with a lot of bias, if you've ever noticed that. And so it's like, I'm not ashamed of my age, but I don't like to give it. I don't like to ask other people about their age, because that doesn't matter to me. Because with the age thing, people will kind of count you out. Oh, you're only 22. Oh, you know nothing. You're too young. And that person could have had a whole, you know what I'm saying? They could be a 80-year-old, lifing, right? But they're only 22 by the birth date, by the date that they were actually the numerical birth. You see what I'm saying? So I think it really does a disservice to people when, oh, well, how old are you? Because you're thinking like, yeah, you should have had some of the same life experiences. You should be where I am now. You should be thinking the way that I think. I've met little children, and I say they're an old soul, because they think so much, so far ahead. You know what I'm saying? You're like, man, this kid's only 8, but this kid is thinking like a 30-year-old. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really like to do that. And I don't know. How do you guys feel like? Do you feel like age kind of, when people ask you, it kind of puts you in a box that comes with a certain expectation? Oh, you're 20. Oh, you're 30. Oh, 50, 60, 70. You know what I'm saying? What do you all think about that?
Yeah, just like the song, they say age ain't nothing but a number. I mean, but I mean, it's certain ages. I mean, I still wouldn't date, but I mean, I don't want to be contradictory, but at the same time, like, and I hate the fact, like, when people, I understand totally where you're coming from, because like, oh, why aren't you married? You this age, why don't you have any kids? Because it wasn't in God's plan, and that's it. Like, leave me alone.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up too. Yeah, with me, I actually experienced that when I was in my early 20s, and I would share certain stories. Oh, honey, you're only 20. Yeah, I'm like, really? Like, I'm only 20. Okay, all right. But it's one of those things, because I consider myself an old soul. I feel like I know a lot more compared to most people, right? So I agree with you, CC and Nadine. It's you have to, the individual, judge them by their character and how they're acting, not by their age. Some people do act their age, right? But then most people, depending on where they grew and if they're classified as an old soul and etc., it's you're going to see that level of maturity regardless if they're 19, 25, in your experience 8, CC. So I would say my recommendation to those: do your best not to judge a person by their age, or by what's the old saying, judge a book by its cover. Take the opportunity to get to know that person, and then determine, okay, this person's like this person's like that. And even regardless of how they are, it's not our duty to judge anyway. We're supposed to accept them for who they are, and then determine, like, okay, do we want to keep this person over there, or do we want to keep them here? So
Perfect example. Like at my book signing, I've had like several people, a matter of fact, and it was all men who came up to my table, and they're analyzing, because I have my books all on my table, and they're analyzing the topics and looking at the pictures. And one particular book, I Am Choosing Me. Oh, why you gotta name it that name? You're selfish. And one man particular, and these are military people, and one man particular on my book, Navy Girl to Boss Chick, you're not a boss. I'm like, this is a typical analogy you're giving me about, don't judge a book by its cover. I said, you have to read the back of the book. And if you ask me, I explain to you what the book is about. So it's not about being selfish or whatever the case is. And I didn't classify myself a boss. I mean, I could explain to you what the book is about. So, there's nothing selfish about me if you really know me. So, and those are the people that I call their narcissists. And it's just the way they present themselves. And I'm like, okay, thank you for your opinion though, sir. I
That's
appreciate
insane.
it.
I am so sorry you had to deal with the shenanigans. Like, really? Like, so how old do you think these individuals were? Maybe in their 40s or 50s?
40s, 50s. These are retired military men. They were
And see,
they're-
no. And so I guarantee they're probably, if they're married, they're probably either disrespectful to their wives, or they might just be single, because with that language, who's going to want to be with somebody like that?
That's
Like, no.
exactly what I said. I said
You know,
this
like
man
that?
does not treat their women well at home, because if you're gonna come and tell me that you're not a boss, I mean, you basically judging me right off the bat just by looking at the cover of the book. Don't judge a book by its cover. Read the book first so you can know what the inside of it is talking about. Like the book I Am Choosing Me is not about I'm choosing myself or I'm selfish. I talk about self-worth. You are worthy. You know what I mean? Like you are enough. It's not about being selfish, but the way it came off, you just selfish. Why you have to have that picture on your book? Like, man, you're not my husband. Man, I want to say, get out my face. That's what I want.
Wow. I am really shocked that you experienced that. That's horrible.
I'm like, oh yeah, you meet some characters. I'm telling you.
Wow.
So what I'm
Okay.
getting at, so it's like the crux of the matter, like with the whole age thing. It's either an expectation is going to come with your age, or a dismissal is going to come with your age.
Mm.
But we expect you're this age, you should know. Well, maybe I shouldn't know because I didn't grow up like that. I never had those experiences. I never had those choices offered to me. I never had, or there's a dismissal. Oh, like you said, oh girl, you don't know nothing. You're just 20. Right. So it's either an expectation, and if it's not meeting the expectation to what they think a 20, 30, 40, 50 plus year old is supposed to be, then there's a dismissal of everything else. And that's just not right. And so don't tell me your age. I don't need to know. I really don't need to know. You're doing that. And then maybe I find out your age and I'm like, wow, you've done all of that. Wow. Only in your 26 years of living, you've done all of that. Wow. You see what I'm saying? Impressive. Right? Think about Jesus in his ministry, right? I mean, we don't really know a lot about the childhood, but in a 3-year span of time, this man was on fire. You know what I'm saying? He did a lot, So yeah, either the expectation or the dismissal. So you heard it here first. All right, on Oy and DT.
Right. And another point too, one of the gentlemen, not the same man, but another person, a different person. Oh, why you not married? Oh, let me guess, you're the problem, huh? I'm telling you, you meet some characters out there. It's like, boy, if it wasn't for the blood of Jesus.
They are so disrespectful. Oh gosh.
Thank you.
Woo! Okay, so the viewers and listeners, if you all think this way, the way that Nadine is describing this individuals, I highly encourage you to stop. Please. No, that's not cute. That's disrespectful. How would you feel if somebody approached you that way?
Exactly.
So,
Narcissistic behavior. That's what I'm saying.
ooh, Nadine, I am so sorry you dealt with that. That is shenanigans. I feel like, ooh, wait, that's boiling my blood, and I wasn't even there.
You have to have skin, honey, thick skin. And I'm glad I gained some thick skin, because if it was the old Nadine, act easy. Kitty Hawk, Japan, Navy girl Nadine. this is the new girl. I've grown.
Yes. Oh gosh.
They know me on the Hawk. Don't mess with me. but I'm grown now. I'm grown.
I have one more conversation topic before we pivot over to last minute words, because our conversation is so juicy that I don't even know where it's at. But so, and I came across a quote, and it's really interesting because I've known people to do this, and it makes me wonder. So, and I don't know if you all would know people like this too, but the quote coming again from financial education, says that most people will spend an average of $10,000 on a wedding, but won't spend at least $500 to learn how to build their wealth or even grow a business. I know people like that. And that just shows the mentality, similar to what you're sharing, Nadine, about the little mindset, the little mentality. It really shows that people's priorities are just, it's interesting what they value. And especially building wealth and growing a business, you can make so much lucrative money that'll pay your wedding 20, 30, 40 times over. So what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, you're definitely right, because I've seen an article. As a matter of fact, this morning I was scrolling Facebook while I was still in bed, and I saw an article about a lady who was just reminiscing about when she got married to her husband. She said she went to the courthouse and they've been together like for years now, and they didn't spend like numerous amount of money on wedding or honeymoon, and they're happy. Some people, they spend $10,000-$20,000 on a wedding, and then they ended up getting divorced like 3 months later, a year later, 2 years later. So it's not even about the money. I mean, so
That's a good point. Cece, what are your thoughts?
And you're right. People don't have the discipline. I was trying to find this acronym, and I'm going to find it. But it's true. People do not invest in themselves. People would rather, pay for a party. Really, the party, truly, you're having it for all these other people, right? Like, because at the end of the day, the money spent on the cake and the food and the wine and all the stuff and the DJs and all that, that's just one night, right? I mean, it's a beautiful night. It's a great night. Don't get me wrong, but I'd rather spend that money on my honeymoon because I'm making memories, right? Those types of things. And then not to even so for instance, my neighbor, her daughter was getting married, and she's like, we're going to pay for everything and so on and so forth. So they gave her like, tens of thousands of dollars for this wedding, but she did it right. You know what she did? Her and her husband, they went to Disneyland. That was for their vacation or their honeymoon. This is a young couple, they're in their 20s, right? So they went to Disneyland for their honeymoon, and all the extra monies, they saved it. They really did. The wedding that the mom, she wanted to have this whole elaborate thing. Their wedding, like when I'm telling you, it was cheap. It was cheap. She was like, we don't need fine china. We can do paper plates, because they're in their 20s. They don't care. It's like the type of crowd that's come. The mom was like, no way, this is like a disaster. So ended up spending even more money, right, to make the wedding to how she wanted it, because this was like, oh, my daughter needs to have this beautiful dream wedding. But no, her kid was fine with red plastic cups and plasticware and paper. They didn't care. They was like, we want to go to Disney World because that's what we want to do. So they splurged on that, and then they got new furniture in their apartment, like all that kind of stuff. So I said that was smart, and the rest of it they saved. And so the mom was upset because she was like, you all need to give me that money back. And they were like, what are you talking about? No, like, you gave it to us to plan our wedding. She was trying to plan the wedding of her dreams, not of the daughter. So the kids did it right. So in that case, I was like, high five. My cousin, Sherwin, who we do want to have on the show, he's a great financial person. He had just sent out something the other day. I'm going to find it while we're chatting here, but it was poor. And the poor stood for something that he said, passed over opportunities. And I forget what the R stands for, but it was passed over opportunities. That was like the acronym that he kind of used for poor, because people really, they weren't, they're just always passing over things. Because right now the stock market, don't let me talk about it, but we gotta talk about it, because people are hemorrhaging money. I'm hemorrhaging money. Okay. My husband was like, how much have we lost? I'm like, I don't want to tell you. I don't even want to look. I just don't want. I don't want. It's not going to be happy for any of us. So it's going to depress me here, right? And so I just looked at it today. Like, that's it. Passed over opportunities repeatedly, right? And so paying for that $10,000 wedding versus putting something in a high yield interest account, and they're out there, because poor people, I would say uneducated people that haven't had the opportunity to learn about money and finances, they think that they can't invest. They think that they can't buy stocks. And that's the farthest thing from the truth, right? You can buy stocks. You can buy what's called fractional shares. So say Amazon's $300, right? But you don't have the full $300 for a stock. You can put in $50, right? And buy a fraction of that, and you're still investing, right? You're still investing, and then you continue to save. And like now, y'all, I'm trying to tell you, people say, I'm not going to get into the stock market. Now is the ample time to get into the stock market because prices are low. Now, are we losing money for the people that have money invested? We are tens of thousands of dollars just right here, right at home. I'm like very sad, but it's going to bounce back, right? You got to look at the longevity of things. You got to look at the highs and the lows and all those things. And you know, Sherwin, as a financial advisor with Let's Win Financial, he always says, don't make a long, you know, term decision based on a short term gain. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, it's hurting us. We're hitting like it's, you know, with the tariffs and all the stuff. We're feeling it in our pocketbooks with these. We're feeling it, y'all. We're seeing it in our economy. We're seeing it in everything that we buy and our products and services and things of that nature. But right, steady the course, stay the long haul. Because right now I want to sell all my stocks and get out. I ain't gonna even lie. I'm like, I'm not gonna have any money to invest. You know what I'm saying? So where I was in the high six figures, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing the like, I'm feeling it, right? That's right. They don't lose unless you sell. Absolutely. So I gotta hold on to the Apple. I gotta hold on to the Tesla. I gotta hold on to the QQQ and BOO and all of these things, right? With these stocks, to do it. So now is the time for you people, everybody out there, go out there and buy you a stock because you're going to get it on the low and it's going to, you got to do it, Rasheed. It's going to up, you know what I'm saying? It's going to go up. It's going to go up. It's going to go up. Same thing with real estate. No one's making any new land, right? There's no more new land. All the land that we have here on earth, this is it for us. Okay. This is it. There's no new land. So hold on to your real estate as well, right? You see what I'm saying? Because you can always make that property grow. Yeah. You know, so yeah. We got to invest. We got to get smart. We got to do those types of things. So,
yeah, talk about land. I just want to say that like they had like a flat piece of land right next door to me, literally in my backyard. Like you look at my fence and there's a flat piece of land right behind me in my backyard. And literally last week it was flat. Now I look through my kitchen window and I open my back door and the house is already up. Like they put that house up in like a week. So the structure and everything is already there. I'm like, oh my God, all I hear is banging, banging, banging. First thing in the morning, I'm hearing banging. So, I mean, I know it's off topic, but you're talking about land. So I just wanted to put that piece in there. Like how quickly they put the house up.
I'm shocked that they moved so fast because I hate to say this, but gosh, it kind of reminds me of that nightclub situation. Let's pray for those people, whoever's moving next door to you.
Right. They were saying there was the people that weren't, I guess they live in the surrounding areas, they could hear the vibration, you know, the houses were vibrating. So I guess that maybe there was too many people in that place and the structure wasn't strong enough to hold everybody.
Right. Yeah. Wow. And CC, I'm so glad you brought that whole concept up and the topic of stocks and investments. That's very important. And I echo all the words that you said. Is you can't win if you're not in the game, right? And so I agree with you. Right now, it is a great opportunity to take the extra $50 in your pocket and invest it, because once it goes up, guess what's going to happen? Those $50 is going to either triple, quadruple, etc. And then you're going to be like, oh, wow, great $50 investment. Similar to how people go to the gas station or wherever to buy a lottery ticket, right? You can't, if you're not in it, how are you going to win? How are you going to expect to get anything from it? So
facts. Perfect example. I went to Publix, bought me a $5 ticket, and I won $500.
Oh, look at you! Okay.
Oh yeah.
That was some weeks ago.
And it's crazy. Maybe you all have heard in the news. Well, maybe you've heard, because I just heard this in the news with the lottery and stuff. They are saying that lottery tickets have even increased, right? They're like $5 now for a lottery ticket. It's going to increase the chances of people winning. So I was driving, I heard it on the radio, and I was like, well, how is that going to increase the chances of people winning? It doesn't. You got to have more people play. You know what I'm saying? Like, or you got to have less people playing if it's going to increase your chance of winning. You got to have less people playing, right? So that, you know, if you're like, you got 5 tickets in the pot and they only have 3, that's going to increase your chances. But how does the price of that increase chances of winning? Like, I don't get it. Make it make sense to me. Maybe I'm missing something. There's some probabilities or something out there that I'm missing, because how does the increase in the price going to increase my chance of winning? It just increased my cost.
That's
y'all give me something, because I really don't know. Help me make
it. Unless they put more winning tickets in the pile of tickets that they have, unless they put, you know, what do you call it, the ranges for winning, you know, like the 1 to 3 or whatever the case, unless they change that. But I doubt it. If they're raising it, they just want to get more money. They always saying that, oh, let me ask you. I've always thought about that, even though I don't have kids, but all my friends, family that have kids, and you know, they're all my nieces and nephews anyway. I don't have kids, but I always wonder, like, if they're saying that all this money is going to education, all the lottery, you always see the notes going to education. And I noticed that, like, every year, why are they asking parents to make this list and bring things to school if all that money is going to the school? Where's the money really going to? Make it make sense.
That's a good question right there. Because I want to know.
Because
What
it's not.
I want to know too.
What about that? Like, I've been seeing everybody that I know as a kid, and every year, oh, they got to bring this list for the teachers, and you know, erasers and pencils and pens and notebook and all this stuff. But then you have every state, it always says, oh, it's going to education. Like, you're right.
That's a good food for thought right there. Is it really going to education, or is it going to somebody's pockets? Good food for thought right there. But Cece, going back to your question, like when I heard you say that about the lottery tickets increasing, in my mind, I'm making it make sense from a logical perspective, because right now, if they're averaging a basic ticket can range anywhere from $1 to $3, right? And so if the cost if the cost is going to increase to $5, that means that we're going to have less individuals willing to pay the $5 or make that extra $2 investment, which means that it'll increase the likelihood of individuals, because we're not going to have that main $1 to $3 range where they're used to paying $1 to $3. Now we're going to have less individuals willing to make that $5 investment because they don't want to do that extra $2 addition. That's, in my mind, that's how I'm calculating it. But I guess we got to see how it all works out. So.
You'd really think that a lot of
No,
people
gracias, maestra. Gracias, maestra. Did I say that right? Very well. You did that good.
you really think a lot of people would stop playing, but I don't believe
down
that.
nicely. I got it now. I got that now.
Yeah, because I love numbers, and so when I heard you say that, I'm like, okay, so that means that the increase it will increase the likelihood of somebody winning, because there's going to be less people willing to make the extra $2 investment, which in the long run they're not realizing that the extra $2 investment can make them even more wealthier.
But that's what I'm saying. Yes, see, they're not going to stop. Like all those avid gamblers and people buying tickets, because especially if you're telling them it's going to increase their chances of winning, they're not going to stop. They're going to like, okay, let me go buy me some ticket if I have more chances of winning. So they know they're going to get more money from the community. So they're not going to stop. They're just going to get more money, put in their pockets for the people that are collecting the lottery. No, people are not going to stop playing. Maybe few here or there, but for the majority, they're not.
But I get it now. I get it because it's a law of ratios and probabilities, right? So I get when you said that, I'm like, oh, okay, now, okay, I'm getting it. So yes. And you like my language, right? My Spanish, maestra. Did I say that right? For a professor, teacher, like, right? Okay. Duolingo, y'all. Duolingo, okay.
Duolingo. She knows she's been working on her Spanish. I almost said grazie. I forgot I'm not, I'm not in Italy anymore. I have to say gracias, not grazie.
Grazie. I love it. Yes. Well, my lovely ladies, we are at the end of almost at the end of the show, because now it's last minute words. And I know we're having such just juicy conversations, which we will definitely carry over next week. Because we're going to have more trending topics and more topics and food for thought. And yes, this is great. I love how we're vibing and we're just sharing it. I love it. This is great. So let's turn over to the last minute words, where we can promote our businesses, share any quotes, where they can find you, etc. So whoever wants to start, go for it.
Cece, you go. You take the floor.
Okay, I was like on mute there. Yes, I'm your girl, Sandra, the Actions with Inspire for Purpose. www.inspireforpurpose.com. And then also our nonprofit Extended Hands Worldwide Ministry, which is www.ehwm. And as I always just want to encourage everyone here tonight to continue, right, to turn those dreams into reality. The Lord said in the word that he would give us visions and he would give us dreams, right? And because he's giving you those things, he wants you to do something with it. Don't overthink, right, what your purpose is. We talked about that on a few episodes ago. And the purpose of man is really to truly serve God, to love one another, right? And those types of things. And so your desires, your giftings, your goals, your objectives, all that other stuff, right, is totally amazing. And those are the things, right, that he puts in our hearts and he purposes in us, right? Those dreams. So go out and achieve it, right? Get a great return on investment, the ROI for your life, right? Live it well, live it to the very best of your abilities and capabilities. And as I always like to say on my show, love and light and inspire for purpose.
Awesome. Thank you for that insight, CC. And Nadine Barton, the author, 9 times author. You can find all my books on Amazon. You can just put my name in. I'm also an entrepreneur and travel agent, Nadine's Travel Oasis. You can find me on LinkedIn, on well, not my LinkedIn. I mean, that's for my business, my job, but not for LinkedIn, but you can find me on Instagram, Nadia B NADIAB _1202 on Instagram. And also check out my blog with Nadine. I just recently dropped some juicy topics about dating and all this other stuff. And if you guys want to, just sit on some topics of what I could write about, get my brain flowing. So you can check out the blog, blogwithnadine.com. Just basically my name, blogwithnadine.com, and check out my topics. I encourage you to send me some topics so I could write about that. And also, like I always say, my favorite quote, life is 10% of what happened to you and 90% of how you react to it. Just like how, when I was in those scenarios, if I had taken that 90% or react in a different way, then people would be looking at me differently. So you just have to think at times before you react to a situation, because like I said, if it was the old Nadine, I wouldn't be thinking about that quote and I'd be going ham on somebody, but it's not. Yeah, and like I always say, I encourage people to share their story. I'm a living testament. I had no idea I was going to be an author, and here I am. Back to you. Yes.
Awesome. Yes. I have some really dope co-hosts. They do so many amazing things. And as you can see, they inspire, which is what we're here for, right? Here at Oyandia, that is our goal, to motivate, inspire, educate, entertain, and educate you all with each and every episode. And I know we did that today because we had a lot of juicy insight insights and conversations that we carried out. And so, I mean, hey, this is what Oyandia is about. We want to be that positive beacon of light to help you think differently, to help change that mindset from a negative into a positive, because I do know that a lot of the programming that takes place day to day, whether it be on your cell phones, whether it be on the music, whether it be on the TVs and programs that you watch, they want you to stay in that negative energy. But guess what? We don't. We want you to get out of that negative funk and think positively. And I know we did that today. So with that in mind, I want to give a shout out to the sponsors. We have CC the Actionist. We have Nadine Barton, author and entrepreneur, Inspire for Purpose, Extended Hands Worldwide Ministries. We also have Nadine's Travel Oasis, Collective Wear, and Divine Beauty and Accessories. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after these quick commercials.
Sponsored by Collective Wear. Dream, explore, discover with Nadine's Travel Oasis. Your next adventure is just a booking away. From breathtaking beaches to vibrant cityscapes, we handle the details so you can make the memories. Luxury, leisure, or last-minute getaways, we've got you covered. Book today and let Nadine's Travel Oasis take you places. Sponsored by Divine Beauty and Accessories. Watch Oyandia TV, Thursday, 7:30 p.m.
All right. And for those businesses who want to be on Oyandia, you want to sponsor Oyandia, you are welcome. The email is actually scrolling at the bottom of the page, oyandiatv@gmail.com. So email us, say sponsor. We do have sponsor packages available, and you are welcome. This is a worldwide platform, so you can be seen and heard. Your business can be seen and heard And yeah, we welcome you with open arms. Also, if you are interested in being a potential guest, we also welcome you with open arms. Again, email oyandiatv@gmail.com. Just subject line, I want to be a guest, and we can get you in. So for me, for those who want to find me, just go on Google, type in Yessie Rodriguez. You'll find my social media, my website, yessierodriguez.com. Pretty much just ways to find me and get to know more about me. And obviously, you can find me right here at Oyandia TV because this is my passion. I love it. I just love what we do here at Oyandia TV and just all the engagement that we get. So big thank you to everyone involved and the guests and viewers, etc. So thank you. Also, I always say, the sky is never the limit because the galaxies are endless. Always remember that. The sky is never the limit because the galaxies are endless. Thank you for tuning into another episode of Oyandia TV. We will see you next week.